Okay, welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gilmer, and I'm a podcast engineer here. I'm excited to bring you another episode of Workability. With the Blue Collar Crypto Show with Neil Weber and Tim Trojan. And you're here every Sunday at 4 and 5:30 p.m. Central. So with nothing further ado, I'll pass it over to them to kick us off. So welcome guys. What are we talking about today?
Hi, Tim. What do you think? What do you think, Tim? I think we should talk about a personal experience with work and disability, like we talked about last week. I think it'd be very helpful, unless you want to talk about something else.
Oh, you're on mute, Tim.
Okay. Yeah, Neil, I like that idea. Yeah. We're how about, I think what you said, Neil, is first work experience.
Sure.
Am I here? Is that it?
Well, I'd like to
Okay.
talk about work experience and how has guided us, and that'd be helpful. But yes, we can talk about our first work experience as well. Sure.
Well, here, I've got a take on that. Really, I do. And I'm a contrarian. I kind of don't believe what the common knowledge is. I really don't go for that, right? So I guess you feel like you're socialized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that go into the socialization, right? And that affects your work experience. Where do you fit in, right? We all, a lot of us are in the public school system, and we get a sense of what we're good at, how we perform, how we compare to other students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get either a positive or a negative, I think, notion of where we fit in.
Sure.
Then we go in the work world, and that carries over. So, how do we stop that, or how do we nullify that a little bit, or dull that, so that the school experience doesn't carry over into the work experience? How do we do that? How do we negate that? Because I'm not sure it's altogether a positive thing. I mean, in the future, I think we're all going to be working, even underage,
Sure.
under 18. So the future is coming. And I think earning a living will be something that'll just be commonplace for everybody. And not just 18-year-olds and above, or 16, but if you have a cell phone, you can earn a living. So that's kind of a very broad, my opinion, and I'm not convinced that my opinion is shared, but it's just, we're all going to be working, and work won't, the nature of work is changing. Like if you can work from your cell phone, that kind of changes things.
Mm-hmm.
Society changes society. I mean, you and I are about the same age.
Correct.
I think when we got out of high school, the idea was you got in your AMC Gremlin or Matador or Pacer, or I'm going to say all the names of the AMC cars, and we drove. Hopefully the car didn't break down. And we got to work, and we punched our punch card to show our employer that we got there.
Right.
And then at lunchtime, we punched out, and for half an hour, then we punched back in, maybe. And then when we left, we punched out. So the employer knew how many hours he could pay us. And today our punch card is our cell phone.
Yes. Usually it is correct.
So I survived the last couple of minutes. So now it's your turn to talk.
Oh, that's fine.
So,
Yes, you
okay, I
survived.
did it. I survived.
Yeah, okay,
Uh,
so yes. Well, my first experience was at Gilly's custard stand. Well, I was a clerk. And what I did was I did a number of things. I brought out orders. I served custard from the machine. I operated the machine, and I did that for about 8 or 10 months. And I enjoyed that. It was my first job, and I first really realized that it was the first job I really enjoyed the ability to be able to work, earn an income, and go downstairs during my break and eat food at half price. And that was really nice. And I really enjoyed that. So I think work is so important in socializing the person to realize that we're here to serve. But I think the important thing about life is that we're here to serve and that we're here put on this earth to serve each other. And obviously, if we can earn an income while doing that, I think that's even better. So I think that's very important. Obviously, during that high school years is when we develop dreams and hopes, and we start determining what we want to do with our lives for income, and if we want to marry or stay single, and how we want to provide for ourselves. And I think that's very important. So I think those are crucial years in which we become independent gradually, and we start contributing to the world. And I think that's very important. So I think the work experience is part of that. And I think for me, that first job at Gillis Customer Stand, obviously my first job was, delivering newspapers at 5 in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. And my mother essentially wanted to help me by driving me around. And my dad put a stop to that. He said, nope, he's going to ride his bike. He's going to get him a bicycle with a basket, and he's going to deliver the paper. And I did that. And I also did collections on my route so that I was able to deliver the paper and do that as well. But my real first experience was at Gillis Custard Stand where I did that. I think those early formative experiences are so core to who we are as people, and what we do for a living shapes us. And I think that's very important. So I remember having some good positive experiences. I remember the owner of the store, his name was Robert, his name was Paul Linscott, and he often called me Neasel instead of Neil, and he teased me, and I think that was fine. But I did have a good positive experience there, and that was good. So I came back later, and unfortunately, my friend distracted me, and I had some issues with that. I had some issue with the machine running improperly, but overcame that and we stayed at the job, so that was good. But I think the paper route really shaped me because it taught me the value of hard work. And the collection experience was important because I was able to collect from my route. I had to go around and deal with customers. And obviously, if they didn't pay or they didn't pay on time, I had to deal with that. So I think the core element of collecting was so important, or the whole issue of delivering papers on time in a cold, and back then, I don't know if you remember, you're the same age as I am. So you probably remember how cold it was from the end of December till the end of till early February. You remember how cold it was and how much snow we got?
Yeah, I remember you went to a certain spot and you expected the papers to be waiting there for you.
Correct. That was like a delivery substation. And that's where I went. Now, in my case, because I lived in Elm Grove, which was a very suburban area, we didn't have that. The papers were delivered to my house. But then later, when I worked in Wauwatosa, there was what's called the substation, and that substation was similar to what you're talking about, where there was a location where the papers were delivered to, and there was usually a manager there, and that manager handled that.
And I agree with you. The collections part of it taught you something, too.
Yes.
And you end up with a pocket full of uh, dollars, $5 bills, a whole bunch of change, or mostly a lot of ones.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, you couldn't accept checks. It had to
Correct.
be cash. Yeah.
Sure.
And I expect it never happened to me, but I think the paper boy got robbed once in a while somewhere, somehow.
I think if you were in the inner city or if you were in a very poor area, that would happen. Yes, I never happened where I was living, either
Uh-huh.
in Algova or Wauwatosa, but I think that may have happened. Yes, correct.
I lived more in the inner city,
Hmm.
and just to think that it never happened to me is interesting because you could have $50 or $100 in your
Hmm.
pocket. I think the subscription was $1.50 a week.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
about right. Yeah, for me, it might have been two. When did you do it? I did it in the early '70s, so I don't know when you
me,
did it.
yeah, me too, me too.
Yeah, so it might have been 225 at that time. So yes, it was pretty low cost, and it was
Um,
7 days a week. So I had to deliver 7 days a week.
um, I remember a lot of. I remember being told, "We don't have it this week," or "He's not here. He usually pays it, so we can't pay you today." And then waiting the next week, and then they would say, "You should have got it before because we were here. You should have just knocked on the door and asked." But there was like a collection day, and
Hmm.
that was the day you collected from everybody. The rest of the week
Correct.
you just delivered. Yeah. So, but they would tell me, "How come you didn't come back earlier? We had it like yesterday." It's like in their budget, you should be cognizant of the fact that you should be there when they have money. You should be available. Like maybe my route was a little poorer, right? So it was more of an
Sure.
issue of them not being able to afford the paper,
Hmm.
but it was nice. Um, and I miss the newspaper.
Yes.
Um, I Here I am in Madison, Dane County, and it's a wonderful newspaper. It covers newspapers cover kind of a regional, not just the city, but everything, maybe the whole county.
Hmm.
Um, the Wisconsin State Journal kind of covers the whole state. It doesn't, but in a way it does. It says
Sure.
state on it, right? In
Right.
the name it says Wisconsin State Journal.
Correct.
Um, yeah, and but I always thought Milwaukee had a very fine paper, the
Yes, it
Milwaukee
did.
Journal.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, really good paper. So, but I lived in Racine, and that was called the Racine Journal, and
Hmm.
so um, we called it something else as a joke. But it was
Sure.
like, but 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 to what we're talking about, um, you wore gloves because it was cold,
Yep.
and you wrapped the paper a certain way. I think that was universal, so you could
Sure.
throw it.
Correct.
Um, I was a terrible newspaper boy.
Why?
I'll just
What
say that
happened? Sure.
everything, everything. I was not good. Um, and I was fast, but I wasn't thorough. I
Hmm.
was not good at being a news. I worked at a convenience store. My grandmother got me the job,
Sure.
so I had plenty of work to do. I was always shoveling because it was always snowing. It seemed like it snowed more back then,
It did.
and then yeah, I was always shoveling. And up north here, to anybody that's listening, snow was wonderful. Um, but I'm not. But we're handling this subject really well. How did that inform us today? Our work experience back then. You know, how did that how did that relate to today?
I think it
Like,
formed us as we are as men, and I think that work ethic cultivated us as men. And I think those early experiences of getting up at 5 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, getting out, getting dressed, getting on that bicycle, dealing with the elements, and having to deal with all that, or shoveling snow, which wasn't easy either. I shoveled snow as well. I initially had a shovel, but then later a snowblower for our suburban lot. So that was very nice. But yeah, I think it forms us because it teaches you the work ethic and the value of the dollar. I think that was very important.
so so you mentioned the snowblower. I had a shovel. Um, so you woke up and you saw this snow and you go, oh my goodness, I got to do my paper route. I got a shovel, or you use a snowblower. It's quite a day.
Right.
So other kids were in bed. We were Saturday morning. You know, we had to work.
Correct.
Like you say, 5 in the morning. We had to be up. The route could have been a long route. It might have taken an hour. Then we had snow shoveling. Snow removal. Um, we pretty much had a full day.
Correct.
On the Saturday and a Sunday, and the Sunday paper was a bigger paper.
Hmm.
It was quite large.
Yes, it was.
Uh, um, so if you fill up your paperboy bag, which was kind of a big purse, it's kind of a sling around your shoulder. I don't know what you
Correct.
compare it to, but but you shove all your newspapers in that bag. But if they were really heavy, you could only put like half of the papers in there and then
Hmm.
come back and get the other half.
Correct. Well, I had baskets. I had 3 baskets, one on the front of my bike and 2 on the back side. So that was helpful as well.
Yeah. So how else did that inform us? I mean, what did that teach us that about the work world? Uh, what did that teach you about the work world?
It taught me that you know if I want income, I need to work. And my parents expected me to work. They gave me the opportunity, and then they said, "You need to produce in order." It's either my dad always said with writing, it was produce, publish or perish, and I think that was very true in the work world as well. Produce or perish. In other words, produce results or perish, and that was very important.
So how did he get that point across to you? Was it the
I'll,
words were
I think
powerful?
offered, not offered. She kind of took over, and her nurturing way, she started driving me around to deliver the paper. And my dad saw that, and within a few days, he had gotten me a bicycle with baskets, or maybe he added. But I think I had a bicycle, and he added baskets to it. And he saw that I would bicycle around, not my mother would drive me. And I think that was a education without really saying much. He educated me that I would be responsible for myself, and my mother would not, because my mother actually not only did she, drive me, she would sometimes deliver the paper as well. So I think that was really, wrong of her. She was overly nurturing, and my dad was very strong as a person, and he taught me the value of work, and he showed me that the importance of me doing the work and not my mother. And so I think the importance lesson there was the value of hard work, the work ethic, and then the value of the dollar as well.
Did you feel obligated? I mean, how did you come across the paperboy job? Whose idea was that? Was that yours?
I don't remember. It goes back, we're going back, back in 50 years. But yeah, I don't remember. But yes, I think it was something that I discovered because, it was a paper route that came up in the neighborhood. I think I discovered it, but I'm not certain of that.
What did you do with the money?
Oh, I
Do you
think
remember?
I saved it and I spent it on things I enjoyed as well.
Okay. Um, well, I remember. I don't remember why I took it. I think I saw an ad in the newspaper and I called it. Because I think we got the newspaper, I believe. And then there I was subbing. I was a substitute.
Sure.
I think that's what I think there was a paper boy that needed a day off here and there, and I went with him on his route, and then he said to me, "Well, when I call you, I need you to do this route.
Hmm.
Like, I'm going to take a day off, and you're going to get a phone call in advance, and I expect you to do my route for me."
Sure.
Um, then I got my own route, which was a point of pride. I'm pretty sure. I felt
Right.
pretty proud of that. Yeah.
Sure.
After that, I worked at a convenience store, and they had the racing form for people that followed horse racing. They bought this form, and they opened, and the convenience store opened up at 5 in the morning too.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a very busy storefront. They sold everything from toilet paper to nudie magazines to five and dime candies. Kids were always buying candies, or they sold beer. They sold well, all types of magazines, including the nudie ones.
Sure.
In our generation, I could name, and then that was pretty good. I worked the cash register,
Hmm.
and so I believed in working. Um, of course, that takes away from your free time.
Sure.
So I'm not sure if the other kids had to work. I guess I was wondering, am I the only one, or do all my classmates do they go out and work? Um, and I was not middle class. I was probably lower class
Sure.
economically. Right.
Correct.
And I was wondering, how come what are they doing? And they're
Hmm.
probably not having to earn that money, because we didn't have enough money in the household. But I was struck by the way it happened in your household, how everybody participated and helped out and was involved in your efforts. It was like they did what they could, and from there, each of them had their viewpoints, and they did what they thought, you know, and they all got along. It sounds like they got along. So
We had a pretty harmonious family, and people did contribute with chores. Everyone had chores, and we got paid, a small amount of money for our chores, and then everyone had outside jobs when they were old enough, and that was important. Yes.
we in my family, I was the oldest. My only thing was I had to make my bed.
Hmm.
Outside of making my bed, I wasn't required to do anything. I didn't have chores. It's
Okay.
like other kids. Yeah, there was no. I was like, I didn't have to do dishes or take out the garbage, or it was just make your bed and we're fine. That's a good deal. When you get out of bed,
Sure.
make it. Go make your bed. Go to
Hmm.
school. Two
Right.
steps.
Sure.
Other than that, I had a carefree existence, and I learned a few skills. I'm not sure what, but um, I I think it was ingrained in me to work, to get up, because my grandfather, he built tractors at JIK's foundry. Um, and my mom and dad were working class. My mom was like a business manager, secretary slash for, so she had, I wouldn't say professional, but I would say she didn't have to do a physical job. And
Sure.
my dad was in dry cleaning. It's physical, very hard. It's hard work. But
Sure.
I always, yeah, I never had to work um really outside of those jobs. Those are just spending money jobs.
Sure.
So that's a good background of what we did when we first got started, and I think that's going away. Having said all that, with all your participation in the last 15 minutes and mine, and we each said we'd each do 15 minutes. I think that's a hallmark of our show.
Sure.
Having said that, I think that's all going away. I really do. I think when I went to college, I did go to UW system in Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin. And I thought to myself, where is this economy going to back then? And I don't believe work is going to survive the way we remember it, Neil. I think that's going away. It's just going away.
Sure.
And I can't imagine what's going to replace it, because I'm so used to this punching in, punching out blue collar work system that we grew up with. So my imagination doesn't require me to think of anything else. You go to work, you get a paycheck. If you don't go to work, you don't get a paycheck.
Correct.
Right? But I think that's changing.
That's correct.
And I think we'll discover, hopefully we'll talk about that.
Sure.
We'll discover. But right now, even now, I'm like, what does the future hold for us? I know you and I are desperately looking for employment. Excuse me for saying desperately. But
yes, well,
we're talking about that. We're chasing the dollar. Well, where can I work? How can I get extra money? Oh, I'll do that. Okay, I'll do it. How much do I get? All the time. And yet the world is changing where they want you to have a resume for a regular job. That was interesting. Well, why do I need a resume? But then 20 years later, today, it's like the resume's on your phone. You can do it electronically. Oh, when did that happen? Oh, things changing. Oh my goodness. What else is, like I say, I can't imagine. There are things that are happening as we speak, and we're not quite on top of it, Neil,
Right.
Okay, excuse me if I include you, but we're not aware.
Sure.
I know we're going to keep getting income. We're going to be able to pay for but the way we do it, the style, the substance, the system, Donald Trump, I keep seeing on my Google feed that he's going to increase the retirement age to whatever number. Why do they get to do that? That's an issue. So
he's gonna make it higher, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And but I'm not getting a lot of income when I retire.
Right.
I'm not getting a big check.
Sure.
And I live in Verona, where there's two choices here. Either live on a government check or work at Epic and make $90,000 a year.
Right.
And for people that don't understand, a government check is about $12,000 a year. And a professional job at Epic is like $90,000.
Correct.
So there's no bit. It seems like, where's the middle class?
Sure.
That's what hopefully we can talk about, where the opportunities are because we want people to be. I think we're good-hearted. We want people to find these opportunities and help them.
Sure.
But all right, well, the show's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
we got through
it
it.
sounds like we've covered everything, and it's 6:00. And we've covered our time. So why don't we turn it over to Emily and see if she can close us out?
All right.
Thank you guys for, that was a very interesting conversation. And again, this is the Workability show, we call it crypto. You're here every Sunday at 4 and 5:30 p.m. Central. And if you are interested in being a guest, please let us know. We can make that happen. And until next time, hope everybody has a safe and